Hi and welcome back, friends. Today we're going to go through some algebra practice questions. So let's have a go at this. I want us to simplify this. So I've got 15a squared b plus 2ab takes 6ba squared plus 8b. Okay, so what we need to do is identify any like terms. And these two are like terms because they're both a squared b. The order is different. So in the first one, it's a squared b. The second one, it's minus 6ba squared. But they're still considered like terms. So the order doesn't matter as long as the letters are exactly the same. And the fact that the squared is on the a. So then 15 take away 6 is 9. So we could just write 9a squared b. And nothing else is like terms. The 2ab, there's no other like terms to 2ab, and this is just 8b by itself, so there's no like terms for that. So that means you can't simplify that, you can't collect those. So we just write everything else out. So it should just be 2ab plus 8b. That's as far as we could go for that question. So if we had to simplify that, it is just 9a squared b, just because those two are like terms, so you could collect them, and it will be 15 take 6, which is that 9, and then everything else remains the same. Beautiful. Okay, what about this? Let's see if we could work this out. So I've got minus 3xy multiplied by 4x squared. So when you multiply the numbers by the numbers. So you're going to do neg 3 times 4, which is neg 12. Then you could do the pronumerals. So it is x multiplied by x squared, which is x cubed. And then y is just multiplied by 1. So we just write y. So it should be negative 12x cubed. So that's really be careful of that, because remember it's x squared multiplied by x, which gives me that x cubed, and then y. Nice. So good work if you got that. Okay, how about this? I want you to simplify this. So we've got 4 brackets m plus 5, close brackets, and then plus 3, and then another open brackets, 3m take 2. So in order to work this out, what we need to do is expand the brackets. And that means that anything that's outside the bracket, you must multiply by whatever's in the bracket. So first you're going to do 4 times m, which is 4m. And then 4 times positive 5, which is 20. And then we do the same for the second bracket. So it's 3 times 3m, which is 9m. And then positive 3 times negative 2, which is neg 6. Now we could collect like terms. So you've got 4m plus 9m, which is 13m. And then we have 20 take away 6. And 20 take away 6 is 14. Positive 14. So your answer should be 13m plus 14 for that one. Very good. Okay, how about this? I want us to simplify this. So I got 36mk squared divided by 19mk. So 36mk squared divided by 9mk. So let's do this. So you're going to do number divided by number first. So 36 divided by 9 is 4. Then you have m divided by m, which is just 1 because they cancel. K squared divided by k is just k by itself, right? So let me just write that out over here. We've got k squared divided by k. K squared is just k times k divided by k. So one of those k's cancels with the bottom, and so you're just left with k. So k squared divided by k is just k. And hopefully you could do that in your head. You could see that quite easily. So the squared cancels with the k at the bottom. Nice. So your answer is 4k. I don't know why I've done that in all different colors, but we love 4k. Hopefully this video is in 4K so you can see it nice and clearly. But nice, well done. Okay. What about this one? So simplifying this. So you got there 3a, take 12 divided by 3. So there's a few ways to do this. A rule that you could remember is if you've got a fraction like this, where you've got an addition on the numerator and just one denominator, you could split that. So if you got a plus b on c, you could just say that's the same as a on c plus b on c. So we could do that for this fraction. So it basically is the same as saying 3a on 3, so that on that, and then it's take, and then it would be that on that. So take 12 on 3. And then we can work that out. 3a divided by 3, the 3's cancel, you're just left with a. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So it's just a take 4. Oops, there we go. Another way to do this is, it's pretty much the same thing, but if I had 3a take 12 on 3, what you can do as well, if it's easier, rather than splitting a fraction, is to factorize the numerator. So we could see 3 is common to both of them, and you're left with a subtract 4 if you divide both of those values by 3, and then you've got a 3 on the denominator, and those two cancel. So you're left with a take 4. So you could pick whichever method you prefer, you get the same answer. And that's the great thing about maths. Sometimes there's multiple methods to get the same answer. So whichever method suits you is fine. Okay, how about this? 21x take away 3x squared all on 6x. So we have, let's write it out. 21x on 3x squared all over 6x. So we could either split this or factorize the top. Let's just split it. So you got 21x on 6, take 3x squared on 6x. Okay, 21 divided by 6 is 3 goes into both of them. So we could simplify it by thinking about how many times 3 goes into 6 and how many times it goes into 21. So 3 goes into 21 7 times and 3 goes into 6 twice. So that just simplifies to 7x on 2. And then we've got 3x squared divided by 6x. So again, 3 goes into both of these once and twice. And the x squared could divide by, cancel out with just x on the bottom. So my numerator is just x, just 1x. And my denominator is 2. So it is 7x on 2 minus x on 2. Because the numerators are the same, you could just combine because the denominator is the same, you could just combine the numerator. And what have I done wrong here? So I missed out an x over here, because that would mean that x and that x would cancel, and so that would actually just be 7 on 2. So, okay, let's start again, because I've confused myself and probably everyone else. Well done if you picked up the error. I missed out an x. But we're going to start again. So I've got 21x on 6x. So I missed out that x on the numerator before. Take 3x squared on 6x. Okay, 21 and 6. 3 goes into both of them. So that just becomes 7 and 2, and the x is cancelled. So we're just left with 7 on 2 there. And then we've got 3x squared on 6x. 3 goes into both of those, and the x squared cancels with the x. So we're just left with x on the numerator, and in the denominator 2. And because the denominators are the same, you could just combine the numerator. So it should just be 7 take x on 2. Remember, we could have done our factorizing before, so we could have done 3 is a common factor. X is also a common factor, so 3x we can remove. And you're left with 7 minus x. On the numerator, denominator 6x. And those two will cancel, that would cancel, and that would become a 2. So you're left with 7 minus x on 2. So you get the same answer. So whichever method you prefer, or you could just do both methods as well to check your work. That's another good thing about maths, you could always check your work. Very nice. Okay, what about this? Suppose I ask you to work this out. So you've got 4 on m multiplied by m plus 3 on 12. So let's write this out. So 4 on m multiplied by m plus 3 on 12. When we multiply out fractions, you just do numerator times numerator. So 4 times that m plus 3. You're basically doing top times top. And use brackets. And then on the denominator, bottom times bottom. So the bottom is just 12m. And then, instead of expanding the brackets, we can simplify, because 4 goes into both of these, once into that, and 3 times into that. So my numerator is just m plus 3, and my denominator is 3m. And that's as far as we could go. So that's your final answer. Nice. Okay, a bit harder. Let's do this. So again, let's write it out. So you've got a plus 4 on 4a multiplied by 18a squared on a plus 4. So we're just going to do top times top. So a plus 4 multiplied by 18a squared. So let's just write the 18a squared first outside the brackets. And then a plus 4 inside the brackets. And then it's going to be those two multiplied by each other. So 4a plus 4. So you could see this straight away. A plus 4 is in brackets, and it's both on the numerator and the denominator, which means we could cancel that out. 18 and 4, they're both even numbers, so we could half them. So they just become 9 and 2. And a squared divided by a, that a cancels and that squared cancels. So we're left with 9a on the numerator, 2 on the denominator. So 9a over 2. Okay, this one's a bit trickier, a division. So we've got 6h take 15 on 6 divided by 2h take 5 on 5. So how would you do this? So in order to divide fractions, what you need to do is flip the second fraction around, and then it becomes a multiplication. So this is just 6h take 15 on 6, and we're going to change it to a multiplication, and you flip this fraction around. So 5 on 2h take 5. Okay, then we could just do numerator times numerator. So we've got 5 outside the brackets, 6h minus 15. And in the denominator, you have that times that. 6 times 2h take 5. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, we can factorize this, right? 3 is common to both of them. So my numerator is, you still have that 5, and then we're going to take out 3 as a factor. And that leaves me with 2h minus 5 in brackets. In the denominator, you still have that 6, and you've got that 2h take 5. Which means 2h take 5 is common to both of these, so we could just cancel that out. And so my numerator is 5 times 3, which is 15. Denominator is 6, because it is, and 3 goes into both of them. 3 goes into 15 5 times, 3 goes into 6 twice. So my answer actually is just 5 on 2. Nice, beautiful. So we did quite a few questions there. We'll do this as a so that this video is not too big, as a few part video. So this was just part 1. Make sure you watch part 2 and the remaining to practice your algebra. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you got these right. And thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.